And this thing is getting even more bizarre. One of the key allegations in her complaint against Justin Baldoni, she writes, on another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips and down her neck. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Ms. Lively with his mouth. When Ms. Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, I'm not even attracted to you. Well, guess what? And you can hear Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni interacting as themselves. No such moment is shown. They're acting like lovers.
And my nose is so big.
Yes. That's her big harassment moment. They are playfully acting. She's completely flirtatious with him. He is flirtatious back, but they're talking about their spouses. She doesn't say, oh my God, you nuzzled me and said that I smell good. She, like, time and time again, she accuses him of doing something, which then when you hear the full context, she said, he came in my trailer while I was breastfeeding. Well, then he produced the text messages showing her saying, I'm breastfeeding, come on over. She accused his producing partner of showing her pornography, absolutely non-pornographic. Can't see any body parts. You can just see that two people clearly are in a bathtub holding their baby. You tell me whether that's what that looks like to you. She wants us to believe this is actionable harassment, what we just witnessed there, where she filed her lawsuit against him, saying this is all retaliatory and asking the court to shut him and Brian Friedman up because they're trying to try this case in the media. The only reason this whole thing got started before she filed the lawsuit, she clearly cooperated with the New York Times to leak the whole thing. Indeed, that's, Brian argues, the reason she went and filed the complaint with the Human Rights Division. She alleges that she's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd. I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth?
Welcome back to AllStarBuzz. Thank you for joining us, and let's begin. Is Blake Lively's showdown with Justin Baldoni about to wreck the fight against real abuse? Over the past few weeks, leaked messages, heated interviews, and bombshell accusations have turned these two Hollywood figures into the center of a firestorm. At first, this might look like just another celebrity clash, an actress butting heads with her director and co-star, creative disputes spiraling into chaos. But beneath the surface, there's something way more serious at play. And it's sending shockwaves beyond the gossip pages. Media heavyweight Megyn Kelly has jumped into the conversation, sounding the alarm on what she sees as a dangerous trend. If Blake's claims against Justin turn out to be exaggerated or twisted, real survivors could face even more doubt and scrutiny. Before getting into the accusations themselves, let's break down why Kelly, and many others, think this feud isn't just Hollywood drama, but a situation that could undermine real cases of misconduct. Megyn Kelly isn't one to tiptoe around controversy, and she's not holding back on this one. From her point of view, when high-profile allegations fall apart or seem manipulated, it chips away at the credibility of actual victims. Blake says she felt uncomfortable, pressured, or even bullied at times, but the evidence coming from Justin Baldoni's legal team paints a completely different picture. And that's exactly what has people questioning her motives. Kelly's concern: if a major star weaponizes accusations, whether for career moves, personal leverage, or to spin the narrative, it damages trust for everyone. Women who have faced real trauma could end up dismissed or doubted when yet another celebrity story crumbles under scrutiny. This isn't just about an actress trying to steer a film her way. It's about how fast a public narrative can overshadow true cases of harassment. If Blake's accusations start looking staged, people might start questioning whether all high-profile allegations are just blown out of proportion. That's exactly the perception Megyn Kelly is warning about. No matter which side you're on, one thing is clear. If false claims slip through, they damage real survivors in ways that no amount of media spin can undo. With Kelly's warning hanging in the air, let's talk about a Hollywood power move that keeps popping up in messy celebrity battles: the gag order. Reports say Blake Lively's team has been scrambling to get the court to silence Justin Baldoni, his lawyers, and even Megyn Kelly's camp from dropping more texts, emails, and video clips that could shatter her claims. After weeks of brutal headlines and contradicting leaks, it looks like Blake might be turning to legal tactics to regain control of a story that's slipping away. But Justin? He's not going down without a fight. Sources say he's pushing back hard against the gag order, arguing that he has every right to expose the evidence that clears his name. And up to this point, the receipts aren't exactly working in Blake's favor. Her lawsuit accuses Justin of constantly invading her space, overstepping boundaries, and making her uncomfortable. Yet leaked messages tell a whole different story. Texts allegedly show Blake personally inviting Justin to her trailer, even in private moments, suggesting she was in control of their interactions all along. Justin has made it crystal clear he's not letting this narrative be told in half-truths. If he's sitting on evidence that proves the public hasn't seen the full picture, he's ready to let it all out. Blake Lively has long been known for her polished Hollywood image, but lately, that shine is starting to crack. Fans digging through past interviews have noticed moments where she came off a little too sharp, rolling her eyes, cutting off interviewers, or shifting conversations to make sure the spotlight stayed on her. And now, those old clips are fueling suspicions about how much of this drama is really about justice, and how much is about control. Some fans started noticing a pattern. Blake had a habit of subtly dismissing her colleagues, downplaying their contributions while making sure hers stood out. And once the mainstream media picked up the story, it exploded beyond gossip circles. Suddenly, people weren't just skimming headlines. They were digging into Blake's past interviews, replaying her statements, and spotting contradictions. And the deeper they looked, the shakier her claims started to seem. That's when it hit. This wasn't just a petty Hollywood feud. It was a full-blown PR war, and the stakes were sky high. Not just for Blake and Justin, but for every real survivor fighting to be heard. The turning point came when Justin Baldoni's camp dropped the receipts, straight from Blake's own phone. Screenshots of text threads revealed she was the one initiating contact, inviting Justin into private spaces, and even suggesting late-night rehearsals under conditions that weren't exactly typical for just any coworker. Suddenly, the narrative of Justin as an aggressive boundary crosser didn't add up, and it didn't stop there. Leaked footage from those very scenes Blake had labeled as uncomfortable and inappropriate started surfacing. And guess what? The original recordings had audio, even though Blake had insisted they didn't. And what did that audio reveal? Not tension, not distress, but two colleagues chatting casually, talking about their spouses, cracking jokes, just passing time between takes. Where was the misconduct? That's exactly what Blake's critics started asking. Because if the so-called evidence of wrongdoing looks like everyday Hollywood interactions, then what does that mean for real cases that deserve attention? And now, people are wondering, is Blake twisting scenes and gestures to strengthen her lawsuit? If that wasn't enough, fresh rumors are painting a very different picture. One where Blake wasn't just clashing with Justin, but trying to take control of the entire film. Insiders claim she went as far as creating her own secret edit of the movie, completely shutting Justin out of the process. That's practically unheard of for a lead actor. Sure, big stars have influence, but locking yourself in a private editing room and cutting your own version of the film, that's next level. And if the whispers are true, Blake allegedly threatened to boycott the film's promotion unless her version made the final cut. But the plot thickens because one bombshell detail has people raising eyebrows even higher. Reports claim Ryan Reynolds, Blake's own husband, was rewriting and tweaking scenes without Justin's knowledge. Now, actors' spouses throwing in casual script suggestions isn't shocking, but making unapproved changes to an official script? That's way out of bounds. And then there's Taylor Swift. Yes, Taylor herself allegedly played a role in this Hollywood power struggle. Leaked messages claim Blake boasted about having Ryan and Taylor as her dragons, ready to back her up if things got messy. Was she gearing up for a public takedown? And just when you think it can't get more brutal, Justin Baldoni, the film's own director and co-star, wasn't even allowed at the premiere. According to him, he was shoved off to the basement with his family, completely cut out of the spotlight. Imagine pouring your heart into a project, writing, directing, acting, only to be pushed aside on the biggest night. Was this a calculated move to erase his presence? Instead of standing proudly at the premiere, Justin was pushed into the shadows, forced to watch from the sidelines while Blake took center stage. And for those already skeptical of her actions, this was just more proof of a carefully crafted plan. The theory? Blake painted Justin as the villain so she could seize control, claim the moral high ground, and steer the entire project in her direction. If she convinced the public and the courts that she was wronged, manipulated, or mistreated, then it would justify her making executive decisions, pushing her own version of the film, and ultimately overshadowing Justin's role altogether. Sounds extreme? Maybe, but as more messages leak, this isn't looking like a simple case of creative differences. It's starting to seem like a calculated power move. And let's be real, this battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni is far from over. With court proceedings looming and potential gag orders hanging in the air, who knows what other secrets could surface? More texts, confidential emails, footage that flips the entire story upside down. One thing is certain, public opinion is shifting fast. Every new leak, every new claim reshapes the entire narrative. But are we still missing a key piece of the puzzle? A critical detail that could expose the truth once and for all? Because at this point, this scandal has grown way bigger than just two Hollywood stars clashing over a movie. It's become a cautionary tale, a brutal reminder that allegations, especially in the world of misconduct claims, must be picked apart and examined carefully. With every fresh revelation, the biggest question remains: was Blake telling the truth, or was she protecting her own image at Justin's expense? Meanwhile, Justin is fighting for his reputation, caught in the unforgiving court of public opinion. And as Megyn Kelly warned, if false or exaggerated claims are at play here, the real victims, the ones who actually need society's belief and support, are the ones who suffer the most. Whenever a high-profile figure's story starts crumbling under hard evidence, the fallout isn't just personal. It shakes public trust in all allegations. And the ones who suffer most? The real survivors. The ones whose painful truths get doubted because of someone else's questionable claims. So, where do we go from here? The best thing we can do is keep our eyes open, separate fact from fiction, and refuse to be swayed by every flashy headline. We need to demand proof, not PR spins. Because Hollywood isn't just a stage for movies. It's a battlefield of egos, power plays, and carefully crafted illusions. At the end of the day, celebrities aren't untouchable icons. They're people. People who make mistakes. People who manipulate. People who rewrite reality to fit their own narrative. And that's why it's up to us to sift through the noise, ask the tough questions, and make sure that real victims don't get lost in the chaos. So now, it's your turn. Does Blake's story hold weight, or does it reek of a PR strategy gone sideways? Is Justin guilty, or just another Hollywood name fighting for his reputation in an industry that loves a scandal? The truth might still be hidden, but one thing is clear. When powerful players go to war, the real survivors are the ones left behind. And that is something we can't afford to ignore. This story is far from over, and you can bet there are more twists to come. So don't just sit back, stay locked in, stay questioning, and don't fall for the first version of the truth that gets handed to you. And if you want to be the first to catch every new revelation, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Because trust me, this is just getting started. See you on the next one.